Hey everybody, thank you for attending this meeting that I have with some information on my trip to Egypt. This is a 12-day trip to Egypt, which includes a 4-day river cruise on the Nile. I'm really excited about this trip. For many of you that have been on my trips before, you know that pretty much everything you see here is going to be a lot of what we do. Obviously, there's stuff that I just honestly can't cover everything that we do. But I will hit some highlights of the tour and pretty much tell you everything that you really need to know. Of course, you can always contact me with questions if you have them. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to cover, I'll talk a little bit about our travel partner and, of course, myself. I'll talk about our own tour experience. I'll talk about what's included and what's not included. And then I'll talk about how to reserve your spot. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Luke Young. I have been at Carrollton City Schools for 18 years. I currently teach STEM, the engineering and technology pathway at Carrollton High School. And I absolutely love to travel. My wife and I are big travelers. We travel every single chance that we get to go somewhere. Currently, so far, she and I have been to 23 different countries. We've been to 32 states and territories. And we've been on 30 cruises. We have a couple of cruises planned and a few more countries that we're going to get to this year that we've never been to before. So we're pretty excited about that. Also included down here at the bottom, 2016. These are EF trips that I've done with our travel partner, EF, that we work with. In 2016, we went on a England and Scotland trip with students. That was a lot of fun. And then in 2019, my wife and I, Tracy and I, went to Berlin, Germany on a short little 5-day trip, an adult-only trip that we just went on. I didn't lead these trips, but we did go. The England and Scotland was a chaperone trip. I went as a chaperone. And the Berlin trip was just a 4 or 5-day getaway adult trip to Berlin. It was a lot of fun. And then, of course, COVID hit, kind of knocked out 2020, but in 2021 I led my first tour as a group leader to Italy. This was a 10-day tour of Italy. In 2021 we had a group of 28 go there, and then in 2022, that was spring break, we did London and Paris. That was 50 people that went with us to London and Paris. This was also a student trip. And then in 2022 we did our first adults only trip, which was a lot of fun. Of course, that's what this trip is. This Egypt trip is an adults only trip. Everybody on the tour will be an adult. It's a lot different than a student trip. Well, it's not that different from a student trip, but it is different in many aspects, and I'll cover that too. But last year to Greece was our first adult-only tour, and it was absolutely amazing. We had so much fun on our trip. This coming spring break, we have Germany, Austria, and Switzerland coming up. That is a student trip, and then in the summer, I don't have these on because they're a couple out, but this summer we have an adult-only trip that we're doing to Ireland. I have 38 people going to Ireland this summer on an adult-only trip. And then next fall, I have a student trip, 50 people on this trip on that trip, there's 40 people going to Italy and Spain. And then that following spring break is a full trip, 45 people going to Japan. So there's a lot of traveling that we have done and are going to do in the future. So if you ever want to go anywhere, please just come talk to me, and I probably have a trip that's perfect for you. Hopefully this Egypt trip is perfect for you. I know it's going to be perfect for me. I thought I'd share just a few pictures from our last adult trip. This is like I said, we had a group of, I may not have said, we had a group, I think there was about 12 or 13 of us here in this group. We had some other people that were with us. We were grouped with some people that we didn't know, but we do know now after spending a week with them in Greece. This is a picture of us at the start-finish line in the original Olympic Stadium in Olympia. That was a lot of fun. This is a picture of us eating lunch. This was near Nefplio, Greece. We had gone to some ruins that day and had a ton of fun seeing those ruins up on that mountain. You can kind of see there behind us. The roof kind of gets in the way. But again, this is Greece. And then I thought I would share this picture with you because I think it's very, very good and really does a good job of showing you what it's like to go on one of these adult trips. You have a wide range of adults. You have adults that are 70 years old all the way down to adults that are 21 years old or 20 years old. So you have a wide range of people. Everybody really gets along well. We all have a lot of fun. This was actually, this person right here in the front, his name is Costas. Costas was our tour director while we were there. And the tour director is with us all day, every day, the whole time that we're there, from the time we get off the plane to the time we get back on the plane to come home. The tour director is with us. And this was Costas. This was actually Costas showing us how to use their subway system in Greece. And you can see there on the signs in the back, you can see the Greek writing and the English writing. Not that English is any easier to necessarily pronounce. When we were over there, sometimes it was just as easy to read the Greek. But he was teaching us how to use their system, what tickets to buy. And that's the good thing that you get with EF, with going on these tours with me, is that we have this tour director that can show us how to do things, and we don't have to walk around and really not knowing, just from ignorance. And, we have this tour director that will be with us that can answer any question that we have. He can tell us everything really that there is to know when we go on these trips, and everything that they can do to help. One more picture. This is from our last night there. After our dinner, we have very good restaurants that we eat at. You can see in this picture, we don't necessarily have restaurants we dress up for. We don't wear necessarily nice Sunday clothes, but we do dress nicely. We don't just show up in just t-shirts or anything. Typically, we put on nicer shorts or nicer shirts, and excuse me, we do go out to nice restaurants and have a nice dinner, and we do enjoy ourselves on these nights. It's very laid back. We enjoy each other's company. These dinners, so that you know, the dinners are served with beer or wine, whichever one you prefer. It does come with that complimentary also in the dinners that we have. But of course, you can get that anytime you want to, whether it's lunch or breakfast or whenever you want it. That's the good thing about being an adult tour, is you can absolutely just do what you want to do and act like an adult. So here's another picture of, I just thought I would share kind of what we do. Like I said, that last one was our last dinner. This was actually our first dinner that we went to in Greece, our first day there in the country. And these dinners are, again, nice restaurants. You can see we were sitting out on the terrace here. It was wonderful, wonderful weather. They didn't even have the fan on. It was beautiful weather. It was not hot. It was in the evening times when we were eating. It was wonderful. It was just a great time we had. So I mentioned our travel partner is EF. Just a few highlights. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this, just because I know that a lot of you know me and you trust me, and I really appreciate that. I do know that you trust me 100% with your plans and your traveling. I know that you trust me, so I do appreciate that. I want you to know that does not go unnoticed by me, and I take it very, very seriously. But EF, just so you know, they are the largest and really one of the first educational travel companies in the world. They've been around for over 50 years. And Carrollton City Schools has been taking students with EF for over 30 years. I think it's 31 years this year. And so just so you know, that is something that's a company that we've worked with for years. The adult-only trips, that just started this past summer. When I took over EF Tours here at Carrollton a few years ago, right before COVID, I didn't know that I would start adult tours, but we had so much fun on our adult tour to Berlin, I decided I wanted to start that for the people here. And so that's how we got into the adult tour. So this will only be the third adult tour with EF Tours, but I guarantee you that it will be absolutely amazing and perfect after 38 or 31 years of traveling with them. And of course, the adult tours, we know that they are absolutely amazing, and they're the greatest company out there. I look around, I want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. I want to make sure that what we get is good for what we pay, because I do know that, you're paying thousands of dollars. So you definitely want to get your money's worth. And I've checked with, and I've spoken to, I've had meetings with several different tour companies, and I'm telling you, for the money we pay, this is the absolute best tour you can get. Sorry, the bell's ringing. Sorry, I'm here at school, and that was the bell ringing. This is the absolute best tour that you can get out of everybody I've spoken to. I've spoken to so many. So just know that, again, they've been around for a long time. They have offices all over the world, and they are absolutely the best company. When you travel with Go Ahead, this is just a slide that they have on their website, and I've included this on several just so that people know, because that first one is big for me. This company absolutely immerses you in the culture that you are going to experience. And Egypt is obviously one of those things where it's all about the culture. You want to go experience the Egyptian culture. I know you want to see the things, and that's part of it. But experiencing that culture and the way they live and the way they move about the city, the way they live their lives on a daily basis, this is what you want to experience. And they do such a great job of that. Their itineraries are always so awesome. And by flexibility, they mean, if this ends up a private tour for us, which it probably will. If I get 30 people on this tour, it'll be a private tour. That means it'll be just our group. We won't have another group with us. And then we get a lot more flexibility in things that we do and places that we go. I'll give you an example in Greece. The other group we were with, it almost was like a private tour because we were able to add going to the Aegean Sea. And we went to a resort beach area with umbrellas and lounge chairs, and we just laid out at the beach and hung out at the beach for a few hours one afternoon. And that's the thing, is you have that flexibility built in to where you can add that in and you can do different things, and that's a big deal to me. I've already mentioned over 50 years experience. The group sizes, y'all, the group size is going to be less than 40. It'll probably be between 30 and 40. And that's good because I told you I meet with other companies. Other companies are wanting me to take 60 adults to get the price that we're getting for EF. And I just think that's too many. I think we need to keep it around 40 or less than 40, and I think that's good. Like I said, our last group was about 30 with the other group. It was about 30 degrees, and that was perfect. In-house sales, customer service teams, that just means that, and I'm going to give you, there's a number that you'll call that you can talk to there at the company about anything. And of course, the best price guarantee. Trust me on that. You are absolutely getting the best price that you're going to get. So this is what you really, really care about. The included highlights, the pyramids of Giza. Obviously, we're doing that. The Great Sphinx. The Museum of Egyptian Antiquities. That is in Cairo. That'll be, we'll spend a few days in Cairo. The Temple of Karnak and Luxor. This is going to be during our Nile River cruise. We'll get to see that. It's really, really, really cool. The Valley of the Kings. That's something that you've heard about probably since 6th grade or maybe before then. And the Valley of the Kings is something that's really, really neat. This is actually on the left. This is from Valley of the Kings. And it's just, when you walk into these places, and I've never been to Egypt, but I can only imagine how awesome it is. I can't wait to find out. And, you see these places that have been around for thousands of years, and it's just amazing the way that they've been built, and it's mind-blowing. I can't wait to experience this firsthand. Aswan is on there. Aswan's a very famous ancient city in Egypt. Beautiful city with palm trees, some greenery around it, and just a beautiful, beautiful city. I didn't want to bog you down with pictures, but obviously you can look up pictures of all these places and see how beautiful they are. But I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, so I didn't want to bog you down with pictures. And then a Felucca sailboat ride. Felucca sailboat. This is an ancient sailboat that comes from ancient Egypt, and this is something that's very common to do. Again, this is going to be on during our Nile River cruise. When we go to these places, we will stop and take tours of these local cities with a local guide that will be an expert at that area. But one day we will have that Felucca sailboat ride where we will get on these sailboats and we'll ride on the Nile on a much smaller boat than what we're cruising on, and enjoy some Egyptian culture with food and singing and things like that. Some stories that you'll hear from these tour guides on these sailboats, and you can YouTube. If you look on YouTube, you can look up Felucca sailboat ride, and you can get an idea of what it is. Again, it looks so much fun. It's really a personal experience with some local, real people of Egypt. The way that they can show you the culture, and these people lived there every day, and you'll really get to experience that. I'm pretty excited about the sailboat ride. Just a few pictures. Obviously, the pyramids and the Sphinx, the Museum of Egyptian Antiquities. Again, this is in Cairo. And, the good thing I should mention here is the good thing about going on these trips is that you never have to wait in line. We don't wait in line. I will work with our tour director, and we will get tickets ahead of time so that, we will have a time to show up at this museum. And when we show up, with a group of 35 or whatever, we will already have tickets, and they'll just give us our tickets, and we'll skip the lines and just go right in. So that's really, really nice. If you're on your own, you'd obviously wait in line. But when you're with this group, we have this group scheduled ahead of time. So our tour director just gets our tickets, hands them to us, and we're free to go in. And, when we go through these museums, you're not necessarily as a group. You have your own time, and you can go through at your own leisure to enjoy that. I did put a picture of King Tut's mask up there in the top left, because that's obviously the number one thing to see at this museum. It's kind of like if you go to the Louvre, you want to see the Mona Lisa. This is kind of the thing to see here at this museum. So I'm pretty excited about seeing that. Karnak Temple. I thought I should throw a picture on here because most people don't really know what I'm talking about. But when you see the picture, you think, okay, I've seen that before. To me, it reminds me a lot of watching the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, back whenever that came out in the 80s, or I guess. And I know it was in the 80s when I saw it, and I've seen it since then. But this is what I think of when I think of this area. I think of the Pharaoh and the Egyptians in that movie, the Ten Commandments. Except this is not a movie set. This is real. And you can see, how large and gigantic it is with those people standing right there. And so that's pretty awesome to see. Valley of the Kings, obviously I mentioned that. That's going to be really, really neat to go through. There's a lot of pictures, a lot of YouTube videos that you can look up about this if you're interested. Obviously I couldn't put them all on here. And then I thought I would throw on a picture of the Felucca sailboat just to let you know kind of what it looks like, maybe give you a little bit of an idea to see that it is a small setting. It's a small, intimate setting with these local people that can really tell you about the culture and the area. It's a really cool excursion. It's not extra, obviously. It's included in the price, but this is when we go on our cruise. This is not the boat we will be cruising on. We'll be cruising on a boat much more like this. And so obviously I said it's a 4-night cruise on the Nile, and you will be able to look out your window and see the Nile River from inside the boat, which will be nice. Or you can go outside up top where the pool is and hang out up there on this boat and enjoy yourself while we're on the Nile. I'm pretty excited about this 4-night cruise on the Nile. I mentioned that my wife and I have done 30 cruises, and by the time this gets here, it'll probably be 40. But I've never done anything like this, and I think anybody that has ever been on a cruise or is even interested in a cruise, this is the number one thing you probably want to do. I hear Alaska's nice, but I can imagine that this is about to be awesome, and I cannot wait to get on this cruise and do this for 4 or 5 days while we're in Egypt. So what's included and what's not? I mentioned all this. So the hand-picked hotels, y'all, we stay in good hotels. We're going to stay in not the Holiday Inn. We're going to be in hotels that are much nicer. I would say not necessarily the Crowne Plaza, because they probably don't have that, but it will be something comparable to that. When we were in Greece, we did stay at the Crowne Plaza in Greece. We stayed at very nice hotels with nice properties, good rooms, very nice rooms, good pool areas with restaurants and bars inside the hotels. Kind of more resortish than like a Holiday Inn or something. If you've been on a student tour with me, you know that we stay in nice hotels on the student tours, but it's like a Holiday Inn. These hotels are much nicer. It includes also 10 breakfasts, which is every day except for the days, obviously, that we're flying into the day that we're flying into the city or the Cairo. But every other day, breakfast is included. 5 lunches, which is 1 lunch while we're in Cairo, and then there's 4 lunches on the cruise, and then 9 dinners. This is every night. There's a welcome dinner, and then we have another dinner in Cairo, and then we have 4 dinners on the cruise, and then we have another farewell dinner. So it all adds up to be 9 dinners. There's a couple of nights there that I don't have a dinner scheduled, just so that you can go out and do your own thing. You can go be a tourist. You can find your own place to go eat. You can go out as a couple if you want to, or as friends. You can go out as a group. It doesn't matter, but it'll all be up to you. But there's a couple nights in there that you can do that. The expert Egyptologist tour director, obviously, I say we have our tour director all the time, and we do. And that tour director is a certified Egyptologist. He's certified by the government to be with us. We'll have local guides. I mentioned when we get off in different cities, we will have local guides that will be with us that are experts in the local areas, and those guides are always a lot of fun. Comfortable transportation. Obviously, the airplane's going to be comfortable because we do fly name brand airlines. We will fly United, Delta, American Airlines, or one of their partners. You know, we may fly Lufthansa, for example, is what we flew to Greece. So we don't fly airlines you've never heard of. We will fly an airline that is a number one good airline that you have heard of. It'll be a good airline, and then we'll have a good bus while we're a motor coach while we're in Egypt to take us around. We'll have good transportation to and from the airport. They will have maybe vans, possibly taxis, things like that to meet us at the airport. We won't necessarily leave on a bus, but they will have private transportation to and from the airport for us. Flexible flight options. When you book this, you can book the flight that comes with the package. However, you can change that flight if you would like an earlier flight or a later flight, or if you'd like to book your own flight. You can book it without paying for the flight, and you can book your own flight if you think you can get it cheaper. Most of the time you can't get it cheaper. However, if you or a spouse or somebody that you're related to works for an airline and you could possibly get it free or much cheaper, then obviously you can get it cheaper. Unless you have really a hookup at an airline, it's going to be hard to get it cheaper than what is going to be included on this flight or on this trip. The 24/7 on-tour support, that's really for me. But just so you know that they are always there 24/7 if I ever need them. The in-house customer experience team, that's the number I'll give you to call. You will actually call them to book. And then any questions that you have, a lot of times your questions will come to me, but they will be available for you to answer any questions. A lot of times money questions, like with your payments or something like that, a lot of times I can't see that, so you would have to call them. But I know a lot of stuff about this travel, so a lot of times I'll be able to help you, but they're still there just in case. I mentioned skipping the line. I think that's really nice. And then, of course, the Nile cruise. That's included. It's not extra. There's not extra tips for that or anything like that. You do not have to pay anything extra. It's rolled into the whole price. And so, like I said, don't think that you have to tip extra on that or anything. So what we will be responsible for, the daily spending money, that probably goes without without mentioning, but obviously I have free time built in. So we will have free time that you can go explore the city. You can go explore these places we go, where you can buy souvenirs. You can go to eat. You can do anything you want to. You can go to a museum, or you can go do anything you want to. And I think it probably goes without saying, but just remember that when you do that, that's the spending money that you'll take with you. Food, I mentioned almost every meal is included on this trip. There's not a lot of extra time for eating on your own. However, there is a couple of nights that I've left free. The cruise kind of takes care of a lot of dinners, and then there's always 3 dinners included. So that kind of rolls into taking care of a lot of meals. But there is some free time that I've rolled in so that you can go eat on your own. If we're ever out and about and lunch is not included, which a lot of days except for the cruise, lunch is not included, that's kind of your time to go get something that you want to eat on your own, something that you're interested in, or something that you just wanted to try. So just remember that. Of course, there's cafes, there's bars that we'll go by, or you'll have time to go to. And if we're walking by one and you want to grab a beer, obviously you can do that. You're an adult, but that is some money that you'll need to remember to take. Tips, we don't tip a lot of people, but we do tip some people on this trip. We'll tip our bus driver, which we won't have our bus driver every day, but we will tip our bus driver. We'll also tip our tour director, and we'll tip the local guides. That's the only people we tip. We don't tip anybody on the cruise ship. We don't tip our waiters or anything like that. All of that's already paid for up front. And the local guides, the tour director, the bus driver, they do work for EF, but at the same time, it's our custom in America, and it's custom worldwide that when you have somebody like that, and they do a great job, they go above and beyond packing, helping you load and unload bags, and they go above and beyond to make your trip special. We do tip them. So what I do is EF kind of suggests that the minimum amount for a tour director is about $7 a day. A bus driver's about $3 a day, and a local guide's about $1 or $2 a day in U.S. dollars. So it's around $12 a day. I don't think it's going to be quite that much because of our cruise. It'll be a little bit less because we won't have a bus driver quite so much. So it's going to be, I'm saying, to plan roughly about $12 a day, but I think it's going to be less. When we get closer to time, I will know exactly how many local guides we'll have, and I'll know exactly how many days we'll have a bus driver. So I'll be able to give you the exact amount of tips. And the way that I do this, and everybody that I've traveled with really likes it, I take the tip money before we leave, and I'll take it and I will change it all to Egyptian money. And then I will tip for them on behalf of us. For example, when I tip the local guide, I will walk up to a local guide and give them, if we have 30 people, and we all tip 2 Egyptian pounds each. Well, that's 60 Egyptian pounds. I'll walk up and give that money to them and say, and you will all be there. I'll say, look, this is from all of us. We really enjoyed it. It was great. Thank you so much. And everybody, smiles at him or her, and she's so thankful and all that. So even though you're going to give it to me, I'm going to take care of that for you, because I don't want you having to always reach in your pocket and get tip money and wonder how much should I tip and wondering, do I tip this person or do I not tip this person? So I just take care of that for you. So just know that about tips. It's really easy. I'll take that before we leave. People like how I take it before and just do it for us. If you want to, I'll give it to you and let you tip her. I don't necessarily have to do it. It's just easy if I do. Additional overweight baggage. Right now, 100% of the airlines that we could possibly fly on that go to Egypt, right now, they allow 1 free international bag. I say right now because you just never know when that would change. I don't expect that to change. It's kind of always been that way. But you just never know when that might change. So for right now, you do get, and I don't think it's going to change, you'll get 1 free bag. Each person will get 1 free bag on the plane. But if you need 2 bags, which I've never had anybody take more than 1 bag, then you'd have to pay for that. Or if it's overweight. The good news is I walk around with a scale a few days before we are leaving. I'll walk around with a bag scale, and we'll come around and I'll make sure that everybody's bag is underweight, even if we need to move some souvenirs around to make it to where everybody can cannot have to pay. And sometimes, I've had people that will go buy a bag to carry on with that extra weight so you don't have to pay for the overweight baggage. But I help you keep up with that. Just know if your bag starts weighing 70 pounds, there's not a lot we can do. It does need to be below 50. And then your passport. Obviously, you need a passport. Your passport, it has to be a passport book. It can't be a passport card. So just know that. And then, speaking of passports, I do want you to know that you need your passport to be valid at least 6 months after we come back into the country. So 6 months beyond the date of reentry into the U.S. So for this, it would be somewhere around June 17th. So 6 months past that. So that's January of 2025. If it's valid through that, then that's good. That's a law that Egypt and the U.S. requires of passports. So just double check. Make sure that you've got at least one page is all you're going to need for stamps, and then you're also going to make sure that it's good 6 months after we come back, and that date is up here in a minute. If you don't have a passport, go ahead and get it. Make sure you get the passport book. You can get a card, but it's not going to work. So make sure you have the book. Also, you have the opportunity to buy insurance. Almost all of the people that travel with me do the basic trip protection. It's like $165, $199, I think. And it's good travel insurance. Nobody really has to use it that much, but it's there. The big thing is the accident or sickness up to $25,000. You can right now add any reason protection for an additional $75. That means you cancel for any reason up until 24 hours, or up until we leave, up until the day we leave or the time we leave. You can add that if you want to. Not many people do, but some people do. And then there's extra trip protection, which is a little bit more. It has any reason protection, $50,000 for accident and sickness. If you need more information on that, it is on the website that I'm going to give you at the end, where you can click on and you can read through it and get specifics on the difference. I always do basic trip protection, and I will tell you that 99% of my travelers do the basic trip protection. So, just real quick, our tour includes flights to and from the U.S., 6 nights in our hotels, 4 nights on the Nile River cruise ship, 10 breakfasts, 5 lunches, 9 dinners. I said that does come with beer or wine, and they're good dinners at good restaurants. 11 different sightseeing tours. I went through a few of those earlier, like the Valley of the Kings and the Karnak Temple, but obviously there's 11 of them, and I didn't want to put all 11 on there because that would bog us down. The tour director, which is a government certified Egyptologist, the motor coach is going to be very, very nice. 2 on-tour flights, because to get to the cruise ship, we will fly from Cairo down to Luxor. And then to get back to Cairo, we'll fly from Aswan back to Cairo. So this includes 2 additional flights. And then, of course, the 4-night cruise. I did mention that earlier. I think I mentioned that twice because I'm so excited about it. So really, like I said, there's 4 flights in this, to and from the U.S. and then 2 on tour to get to and from the cruise ship. So right now, if you want to do automatic payments, you can do automatic or manual, or you can pay in full. If you do automatic payments, it's a $99 deposit, and then it just sets you up to automatically withdraw an even amount every month until 60 days before we leave. So we leave in June, so that puts it around the beginning of April or March. The end of March, beginning of April would be 60 to 70 days out. That would be your final payment. It's around $270 a month per person, which is really, really good. And that's automatic. If you want to do manual, you would put $450 down. And then you can just pay kind of as you go, as you want to. You can pay as much or as little as you want to, as long as the balance is paid 110 days before we leave. So So that's a big thing. Most people do the automatic payments. They kind of like they just pull it out of your bank account or they pull it off your credit card or whatever. People tell me often that they just almost even forget that they're paying for it. So a lot of people do automatic. If you want to pay in full, of course, you can call. You can pay in full using a bank account or a credit card. You can do either one. But you can see there at the bottom, the total price is $5,169. That includes everything that I've already mentioned. In my opinion, I think this is an amazing price for a 12-day trip to Egypt, which includes a 4-day cruise on the Nile and all of those excursions that we're doing. There are some excursions you can add in while we're on the cruise. Some of them are cheap, some of them are expensive. It's totally up to you, but you can look at those. You are free to do that. They're optional. I did leave those optional because I like getting off the ship and just walking around and looking at what there is to see there in the port. But they are there if you want them. So feel free if you want to add that. Like I said, $51.69, which in my opinion, this is as good of a price as you're going to get for everything that's included with this trip. And I hope you can do it. I mentioned the payment plans. I'm not going to go over that again. But this is everything that you pretty much need to know with that. You can pay it in full. You can do the automatic, which is, again, what most people do. Or you can do the manual plan. So right now, I have 37 spots available. Actually, that's down to 30 because I've had 7 people enroll over the last couple of days. You have to call to enroll. I know that's a little bit different. If you've ever been on a trip with me, typically you enroll on the website. However, with this one, you do have to call to enroll because of the cruise. It's not hard. It's very simple, but they just need to speak to you to make sure that they get your cruise stuff correct. So make sure you call to enroll for that. Right now, the enrollment window closes on November 31st. I've already got 7 people after a couple days, so I might fill up before then. So if I were you and you know you want to go, I would absolutely call and enroll. I wouldn't put that off too long because you don't want it to fill up. That happens a lot. I have an enrollment window open for so long, but honestly, people jump on this stuff and a lot of times they fill up in a week or two. So I wouldn't let it go too long. You do definitely have some time to think about it. I don't think you have to be in that big of a hurry, but I wouldn't probably wait till 11:31 to decide that. When you call to reserve, just mention that group reference number. You can see that right there, and that will get you to the right cruise or the right trip. And then the informational link there, if you click, that's a link. If you click on that or you type that website in, it'll go straight to the website that pretty much has everything that you need to know in it. It has everything that you need to know, the itinerary, it's got the flights, it has pictures, it has testimonials from people that have been. So it's pretty much everything that you want to know. That's all. I hope I didn't take too long of a time. I think I took a little longer than 30 minutes. I said I would take maybe closer to 45. So please, please, please sign up. I'm so excited about this trip, and I know you know that I love taking people around the world. It's something that I love doing and I take very seriously, and it's my favorite thing that I do. So please sign up. It will be a lot of fun. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at school. Again, my name is Luke Young. My email is luke.young@carrolltoncityschools.net. You are most likely getting this from that email. And then if you want to call or text me, feel free to call or text me. My number is 706-506-8489. And I put that in the email too. I try to remember to put that in the email. So thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I look forward to you signing up and seeing who all's going to go with us. So if you need me, call me or email me, and I will talk to you all later.